Today I'm going to share with you the simple process that I used to remove this dent from my customer's roof panel. I'm going to be using hot glue, some gangrene tabs, a slide hammer, and towards the end there's a bit of knockdown work too. Now I'm going to share step by step the process that I used, what it is I'm looking for, how I got my tab into the centre of the dent, and then towards the end of the video I'm going to share some of my advice, some tips to help you cross-check your work and get a really high quality finish. So stay tuned. So I've set up my Dent line board, and right now I'm deciding which tab to use. So I'm going to use the Gangrene Smooth Series. This is from Black Plague PDR, and this is a small square tab. It looks like it's just about the right size to cover the whole low of the dent itself. Now the trick is here to get a tab small enough to fill into the low to help you lift the centre, but big enough to allow enough contact surface to really start to lift up the panel. So I'm going to start off with this fairly small square tab, and I'm going to place it straight in the centre. Now often it's hard to find the centre of a dent, particularly when we're doing kind of roof damage from our line of sight. So as I get the hot glue on the tab, turn it upside down to hold it into position. You can just see as the glue is about to drip, it helps me be able to line it up with the centre. Now that's just something I do kind of quite regularly now. If we have a look again, just at this point the glue is just starting to drip down, and I can use that to help me find the centre, and then reposition my tab so that the stem of the tab again is exactly in that centre spot. Thank you for watching my videos. I really hope you enjoy the content I bring to you here on YouTube. If you haven't done so already, you can subscribe to my channel. This means you'll get a notification every time I release a new video. Plus, it really helps my channel grow. So I appreciate your support, and if you haven't done so already, hit the subscribe button right now. So for this repair, I'm going to be using a slide hammer as opposed to a lifter, and that's because of the type of pull I'm looking to achieve. So I'm looking to lift up that low and pretty much reverse that damage. So as opposed to the control that you get with a lifter, I'm looking for more of a shock that I can get with the slide hammer. Basically looking to reverse the impact. So whatever hit this roof panel and pushed it in, I'm looking to reverse that by applying pressure to the lowest point of this dent, and as in reverse, lifting it straight back out again. So that first pull did just very slightly take some of the depth of the dent out. It didn't pull it all up in once, but it just did enough to lift some of that centre point. So warming up the panel again. Just want to keep the panel nice and warm, nice and dry during the repair process. Of course that really just kind of helps with the adhesion. So I'm going to use the same tab again, pretty much just repeat that same process. Line up my tab with the centre point of the low, so the deepest part, and then using my slide hammer to lift it out. And then once again just attach my slide hammer. Give it a gentle tug to start with for that adhesion, and then start giving it a few really good pulls to start lifting up the panel. And again with each pull it's just slightly lifting that centre point up. So this time you can see I've switched to a smaller tab, so as my dent got smaller so did my tab. Now I'm still using that Gangrene Smooth Series, but just a slightly smaller round tab. I've got that bang on in the centre of my low, and you can see the tab is pretty much just the ideal size. With that tab on you can barely see there's a dent at all. And again waiting for that kind of ideal temperature, Give it a few good pulls, and you can just see those lines pinching together here. And I've now been able to pull up that center point high. So I know now that I have removed that dent, at least the low side of it, and I've brought the panel up high. And you can see just there my contact point right in the center of the dent, where those lines just slightly pinch together. Now it's tricky trying to move around and get the best angle for you to see. Often when I'm doing my tap down, I'm either getting my head in the way, my arms, or just to a point that you can't see what it is I'm doing. So it might look a little bit awkward. I'm just trying to get a really nice visual point for you to be able to see what it is I'm doing. So very fine, small, accurate tap downs. Getting those lines to all read true again. Now this is where it's really important to cross-check your work as you're doing a repair. So often you get it out completely from one angle, and then when you realign your board, you'll find there's still a little bit of distortion. So to allow me to work quickly, I've set up my reflector board pretty much a 90-degree angle to my light board. And this allows me very quickly to look left to right and cross-check the repair area during the tap down process. So every now and again you can get lucky with these kind of dents, a couple of pulls and you just happen to pull it exactly into the right spot. But more often than not it does require a little bit of back and forth. So with each one of those 3 glue pulls, I've set the tab up for the ideal size for the dent, and each time I've gone directly for the centre of the dent. Now this is because it's a fairly small, shallow, straightforward dent. So right in the centre with my glue tab, a few gentle pulls to get the metal moving. On the 3rd pull we saw that I pulled it up high, and now going back through that process of just tapping it down until it's flat and cross-checking against my line boards to make sure I've got a really clean repair. If you're interested in paintless dent removal and you want to know how you can get started in the trade, click the link at the top of this video right now. It's going to take you straight through to my training page and we can get you set up and started learning PDR today. So as we start to get towards the finishing stages, again I'm just moving my line boards, making sure I've got a really good kind of line of sight from front to back, left to right, all across the panel, making sure there's no ripples, there's no distortion in the reflection. Now hopefully you can see from my tap down I'm actually working very lightly. It's another reason I'm using this paddle over a hammer. Sometimes with the hammer, that extra weight, it's easy to put small divots in, small lows. But I'm using a lightweight tap down, this little root beer, and by using the paddle end of my little blending hammer, I'm just creating minimal force to get that metal moving and tap down some of the highs. So now trying to move around in the way that I am looking at the repair. So my head back and forth, left to right, and I'm checking that repair area against my light board and also my reflector board. And with the angles I've got them set up, you really get a good idea as to kind of the overall shape and reflections of the panels from every direction. So today's video was a fairly straightforward dent and hopefully a straightforward removal process using a glue pull and a slide hammer. I've saved the customer from having to have the entire roof repaired and painted in traditional body shop methods. Now this is one of my repeat customers. I've carried out quite a lot of work for him over the years. So thankfully he already understands the benefits of PDR. But otherwise this is the ideal damage to explain the process to your customer if it had to go into the body shop to be repaired and painted versus what we can achieve with paintless dent removal.